Hello there and welcome back to the bar for the latest in this series of bar chats. So we've looked at all sorts of different dimensions to delivering successful transformation within this series of bar chats. And what I want to look at today particularly is the focus on outcomes when defining a program or a transformation program rather than deliverables. And this is a mistake that often gets made in my experience. And I've worked with many companies over the last 25, 30 years. And often we've gone in to recover a transformation program that's gone wrong. And they often do go wrong because they're hard. It's really not easy to get all the functions who've all got completely different objectives and focal points, even though the overarching corporate objectives may well be the same. Well, they will be the same. Sales and marketing functions have a very different focus in life, which is more around targets and target hitting and incentives and all those sort of things, to finance or to operations. They're just very different. And so what's sort of interesting from my perspective here is how you get momentum and confidence into a program relatively early on, and then also in the definition phase of the program, sort of injecting the so what factor. So often what we find is that companies or organizations have set out their transformation journey, some better than others. They've then defined the vision, the scope of the transformation program, a bunch of deliverables, and we then look at the deliverables, and they're scheduled in a plan, a project plan or a program plan, which is often perfectly good, but they are deliverables, and they're not necessarily sort of working through to the outcomes that those deliverables realize. So, as an example, the sort of thing that we often see is a piece of technology being built, a website, an e-commerce platform, an IT system, whatever it might be, a network or whatever, that has a set of deliverable dates for that platform, but actually they're not necessarily completely connected to the outcomes that platform is then going to drive. So the bit that tends to quite often get missed or not properly sort of thought through or even communicated up front is firstly the transition into BAU, so all the business change that happens around a piece of technology. But secondly, when going out to the business in the first place and engaging people across the business in your transformation program, you really, what they'll be sitting there thinking 9 times out of 10 is it's all very well delivering that system or that website or whatever, but what are the outcomes it's going to drive? So what? What's the difference it's going to make to our sort of lives every day, working in the within our part of the organization? Why is it going to make a difference? Why does it matter? And that bit is just really, really important, because if you can get people understanding the outcomes that a piece of work or a piece of technology is going to deliver, then they're far more likely to get excited about it and understand it, and also therefore inject their own resource, time, energy and effort into helping it succeed. So break your deliverables down. Make sure you join up the deliverable to the outcome. And that's not just the benefit. So the benefit is often articulated in cost or money, so financial benefit, customer satisfaction benefits, etc. But also break it down into the so what, the outcome. What is that deliverable going to do that's different? And that then leads on to realizing some of the benefits that are in the business case or in the program plan. And within the context of a transformation program, it's an awful lot more easy to plot benefit realization than it is to plot benefit, to actually sort of size a benefit that has been it's an awful lot easier to plot benefit release than it is to plot benefit realization. And in our experience, what tends to happen is if you look at benefits, you can easily plot the date they get released, and then you can start to track how much has been realized against that initial date. The program's job is to release the enablers and the business change around those enablers in order to then realize the benefits within the business case. You need to then go 6 months forward or a year forwards and look back at the program and say how much benefit have we really realized over the last 12 months. And the difficulty with benefit realization tracking is that you end up with 5 or 6 different programs or projects across the organization saying it's their program that has contributed to that benefit. So it becomes often very hard to actually determine how much of the benefits come from your project or your program. Focus on benefit release, absolutely fine. Focus on outcomes, absolutely critical for gaining people's engagement with the program. Good luck with it, and see you for the next bar chat.